And the final frontier could not be conquered by India, but India go into Cape Town trying to avoid starting the new year with a series loss. Welcome to the shiny side. I'm your host, Shah. And once again, I have Umair Qazi in Dubai and Qazi Umair in Karachi. How are you
Hello.
doing, boys?
Good, doing well, Faris. How are you?
All well, Faris. Hope you're well.
Yeah, I am. I am just enjoying all the Test cricket we're getting in for a change. But just to kind of quickly summarize what happened last week, India was no match for South Africa. And while India lost Jadeja before the game and Shami's been out of the series, South Africa were missing two out of the three key players. There was no Andre Nokia, there was no Nagidi. And they lost their captain in the first day in the field, and he didn't even bat. So they essentially beat India by over innings with one less man in the squad. And it was a completely dominating performance, probably as dominant as any win we've seen any team do in the last few months. How do you guys look at, again, Dubai? We go to Dubai first. How do you see it, the win, Umair, and like how India is doing?
Look, it was the batsmen found it really difficult, the Indian batsmen, right? The South African bowlers were all over them in both the innings. Besides a great inning from Rahul in the first innings, no one really stood up.
Yeah.
I think Rohit Sharma coming back after that World Cup, probably not in the right frame of mind still, even though no matter what he says. But the most favorite part for me was Sanjay Manjrekar on commentary calling Nandre Berger. I think that's his name, right? The bowler, Nandre Berger. And I saw a clip of the Hindi commentary, and Sanjay Manjrekar said, "Halwa bowling kara rahe." And the guy ended up taking 7, 8 wickets, and some of the balls he bowled to KL Rahul were just unbelievable, unplayable deliveries. And the other one was Harsha Bhogle saying how Pakistani batsmen can't live up, can't face Australian bowling in Australian conditions. And he was commentating on Pakistan Australia, and he just walked right into it. South Africa beat their test match started a day after us, or let's say 8 hours after us.
8 hours after us.
And they lost well before we ended up losing, right? So the test match ended very quickly. So their batsmen, were just not there.
Yeah. And Karachi, what's your view?
Yeah, so, if you look at India-South Africa contests, like if you go in the past, you would recall, back in 97, 96, those series where Donald was still alive. India has improved, but even back then they used to struggle. And I'd shared a stat with you, if you remember, of all Asian teams playing in South Africa and Australia. Yeah, I think a lot of it, and it's not like Pakistan has a great time when they go to South Africa. It's one or two batsmen that, shine like India. Like Kohli struck it out in the second innings. KL had a great first innings. But I always feel it's just, whether if you guys would recall when Ramiz Raja was chairman, there was a lot of talk about bringing, imported pitches into Pakistan and all. I think the same problem India suffers with as well. Recently I've pinned it down to saying India has the same problems as Pakistan. It's just that Pakistan is keeps setting new lows, while India also has a decent Ranji Trophy system where players are churned out every now and then. But ये जो bounce खेलने का मसला है ना और ये pace का, this remains because we unfortunately in the subcontinent we never get fast wickets.
I guess for those of you who may not have played the game to come to some level, right? I think the key difference here is, literally speaking, if you play a ball on the same length in India or Pakistan, it might come to your knees. But if you play the same ball in South Africa, Australia, it'll come close to your waist. So that mental adjustment, which you've kind of grown up playing a certain way, is not so easy. But I guess
it's not mental, it's technical as well, right?
Yeah.
Because no one grows up playing, you say, hip length bounce in Pakistan or even India. And when they go abroad, they take the entire tour to get adjusted. By the time the tour is done and they've learned or they've adjusted to the scenario, it's too late. You lost the series by 2-1, 2-0, whatever,
And just a reminder for people watching that South Africa, this Test Championship is only playing 2-game series. They're barely taking the format seriously. The next tour to New Zealand is sending a second string side because it overlaps with the SA-T20, and they don't want to dilute their tournament. So that's the level of priority they're giving, and yet somehow India has found it unable to beat them. But I guess very quickly, we're looking at the game is at Cape Town, which, by the way, I've never been to, but in my view, probably one of the prettiest backgrounds to watch cricket in. In Cape Town, South Africa has won 6 of the last 8 games. The last game was against India. The average score batting first is 250. The last time they played a game here, the highest score anyone scored was 230. So low scoring, the kind of conditions South African bowlers would love to play in. Rabada averages 20. Jansen's played only one game, but he averages 13 there. Bumrah also, by the way, he's played a couple of games, averages 20. So clearly these guys like bowling there. But I think moving on to just kind of India's batting and how they're shaping up, right? So KL Rahul now has 800. 7 of them are in Sena countries. Kohli is looking great. But then Gill now, the way we go to you first, Gill has scored 1,000 runs in 31 matches, in test matches now. Ashwin actually had more runs in his first 31 matches. Clearly, his test career hasn't got off to the same start which his ODI or T20 career has. Qazi, you want to go first, Dubai?
Yeah, so look, I think Shubman Gill had a decent start to his test career. He's struggling in South Africa, but like the rest of the batsmen. But I think he'll come good, if not in this test. But yeah, he looks a better T20 and ODI batsman than he does in Test cricket. But I think he'll come around. I think he will be their all-format best player going forward. But yeah, given the stats that you've just mentioned, I wasn't aware of all this, but I don't see many Indian batsmen like Kohli and KL are probably the only ones who look like doing something. I think Rohit, the top order will definitely continue to struggle, and South African bowlers will have a great time.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's the first game for Jaiswal and first series for Iyer and Jaiswal in South Africa. They've never played there before. They barely, to be fair, barely played test matches for India. Rohit has never done well before, didn't do well this time. Qazi, Karachi, how do you see Indian batting?
It's Gill's first tour as well, right?
Yeah, it is. Yes, it is.
So I just want to add to what Umair had said earlier about Gill. I think he'll definitely come around because as far as T20 and ODIs are concerned, in my opinion, he's Virat Kohli's replacement for India.
Yeah.
You know, Virat is on his way out another few years. I think he easily replaces him. In so far as tests are concerned, again, same issue at South Shakil, you know. It's his first tour. Give him some time. He'll definitely come around. Right now, like you said, KL and perhaps Kohli are the only ones who might, you know, continue to score. If you go back to their last tour when Kohli was captain, that also was a series sort of dominated by Kohli in terms of batting. No one else got around to making any runs. So, and if you look in the past, it was usually either Tendulkar or Azharuddin who would score. The others would struggle, or maybe on occasions Rahul Dravid. So I think the current batting will continue to struggle. Like you said, Rohit has always struggled against the moving ball, against bounce. So, and he also, I mean, let's be honest, he has some fitness issues. He's not the fittest around. So, on batting tracks like Australia and South Africa, because of the bounce, fitness is key. You know, it's just that movement back and forth, the split second difference, which makes the difference. So I feel, you know, Kohli and KL perhaps, and I expect Shubman Gill to come up with something as well.
Okay, so if you look at South Africa now, I mean, Rabada single-handedly, essentially, kind of with the ball in the first inning, especially, he was too good. Well, so Berger, by the way, who you mentioned, he got 7 wickets for about 80 odd runs across 2 innings, right? So clearly he had a great impact. And then Jansen at number 7, he scored 80, 70 odd not out with the bat, and he got Gill, Iyer, and Kohli out in the second innings, right? So clearly at number 7, he's giving them that brilliant balance. Dean Elgar with the bat is still killing it, scoring 180 in his last. And because Babuma is missing in the next game, he'll be captaining in his final test. And well supported by a couple of young ones like Bedingham, who scored a 50 out, and Dizozi, who even though only made 20 or so, but there were 10 for 1, and then he was in a 90-run partnership. So again, South Africa, they seems to have a lot of young guys, Qazi, Dubai, but they seem to be kind of coming together well at home.
Yeah, no, their batting is looking very strong. Even Markram at the top of the order, he didn't
fire, but you're right.
But I think he's a very strong opening batsman along with Dean Elgar. And even though, yes, Tony Dezorzi, the young guys, Mark Jansen, there's another middle order batsman who had a debut, David Beckingham. What's his name?
Bedingham, yeah.
Bedingham. So yeah, he got a debut 50 as well. So I think their batting is looking really solid.
Yeah.
I mean, I just want to make this point about Jansen. He's really impressed me because he reminds me of, you guys will remember the Zimbabwean all-rounder Johnson, the guy who could open the bowling
Yes,
and
and the batting.
also
Yeah,
batting. I mean,
yeah,
Jansen isn't doing the same thing, but he's that sort of utility player, who'll get runs for you at number
yeah,
7.
absolutely.
And he can, actually pretty
He can
decent ball.
bat.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
can bat. He can bowl. He's a very good replacement for Jack Callis. I mean, probably not that
Yeah,
level of batsman,
yeah,
but
Pattern, yeah.
he provides them the both the batting depth,
yeah.
and he's a proper
True,
pace bowler. He's
true.
not a
Proper
your
refined version
right.
of the Razak when he came through.
And yeah,
He had
he was
pace.
attacking. He was attacking for them during
Yeah,
the World Cup.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So the proper bowler.
I mean, before we look at the likely 11s, I think just talk about India's bowling. So India went with Bumrah and Siraj, and then they played Prashit Krishna and they played Shardul Thakur. Now, Prashit and Shardul, between them, they bowled 39 overs and they gave 194 at an economy of 5, and they only got
Yeah.
2 wickets. So essentially, that's where I think India were completely, I won't say that's where they lost the game, but that's where they were essentially batted out of the game when South Africa batted.
Yeah,
And
I think
that
they
is
missed.
clearly a
Don't
weak
you guys,
link with Shami missing.
Yeah,
wait, don't you guys think they underused Ashwin in the game?
yeah, probably did. Absolutely.
I mean, maybe, but like it's not like he was probably bowling as well as Siraj and Bumrah, sure, and he didn't get that. Like, I think he got a wicket maybe or two, but he didn't necessarily do that well though.
Yeah, the thing is, you see, I look at it differently. Yeah, Ashwin's not a regular bowler. The guy has over 400 wickets in Test cricket. So, when you have someone with that experience, you need to use him better. You need to utilize him better. They invested more on the new bowlers. They kept relying on them. I know, I understand Bumrah's coming back and he's their strike bowler, but Ashwin held the key. For example, they could have started the new ball with Ashwin as well. He's done it. He's done brilliantly with it in the past. So he's experienced. He understood what was going on. He reads the conditions way better. I think India has been missing a trick in the last
To be
few
honest, I don't think they would have even played Ashwin had Jadeja been fit. They generally, when they're abroad, they opt to
years.
play one spinner and they always play Jadeja and they leave Ashwin out. So I think the only reason he came in is because Jadeja was actually unfit.
Yeah, agreed. And I mean, unfortunate, poor guy missed out the entire World Cup. Yeah, I thought he wanted the place, but theek hai, whatever works for them.
Okay, so very quickly looking at the likely 11. So I guess the top 6, we don't expect any changes. Jadeja probably comes in for Ashwin, assuming he's fit, but I'm not sure if he's fit yet. Shardul Thakur also, by the way, got hit on the shoulder in the net, but he
Yeah,
continued to bat. So I guess the
yeah.
question only becomes, will India make a change with the bowling and perhaps replace? I feel like Shardul will continue to play because he also manages to score some runs. Do you guys feel like any changes to this 11? Do you feel like Prashid will be replaced by one of the other guys? Or do you think they'll stick to the same? Dubai, you go first.
Yeah, look, I think it's I mean, I don't know. And they might play Mohit Kumar, they might not. But I feel no matter who plays, they will not get the quality of Bumrah and Siraj. They're really
Yeah.
missing Shami, and they will. That will hurt them. I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Qazi, what's
agreed.
your
Yeah,
view?
same. I think they're missing out on Shami. If they had Shami, there would have been a no-brainer. The three paces would have gone in. I just feel with the current lineup, I think Avnesh might get a game, they because they're looking to him for the future. He's one of those who's done well in the past. So I think if Jadeja is fit, he'll probably come in. He adds that batting ability as well. He adds to lower middle order batting as well. But otherwise, I think largely more or less the same side would
And
play.
just a point on Avesh, you mentioned they might bring him in. He's actually
Yeah,
already playing for India in South Africa, so he's been there for a couple
yeah,
of weeks. He
yeah.
just got a 5-wicket haul in the last 50-over game. So, and he joined the squad last week, so he's definitely there and in the reckoning. Moving on to South
Like
Africa's. Sorry, go
Is
on.
Jadeja fit for tomorrow?
There's no news yet,
there's no
so
news.
we don't know yet. Yeah.
I mean, just to
Um,
add to that, this theory-wise, it works well that yes, Avesh is there and he'll play him. I mean, by that count, Haris Rauf is also there. He's bowling really well in the BBL. So might as well bring him in the Test side as well.
yeah, but
That
Haris
way.
Rauf doesn't really play first-class cricket, right? Well, this guy does, so it's like not the
He
same.
No,
doesn't want to play Test matches.
he
छोड़
doesn't
दो
want
उसका
to play.
पीछा छोड़ दो उसका पीछा नहीं खेलना उसको. But South
Anyway,
Africa's 11, guys. Okay, so I guess Elgar and Macram, D'Souza are kind of done now. At number 4, Bavuma is missing. So they have the option of choosing between Zubair Hamza, who averages 18 in about 6 odd test matches, or Stubbs, who's more of a lower order batsman, never played a game, but he averages 45 with the bat in first class cricket. And then Peterson, Bellingham I would probably say the same. And the other question becomes, so by the way, Kudza is also out with an injury. So Janssen, Berger, and Rabada will play, whether they bring in Nagiri or they bring in the spinner Maharaj. So these are the two decisions there. Qazi, Karachi, who do you think they're going to go with?
And I think they'll probably go with Maharaj because he's the more experienced of the spinner. I think he'll add to it. And I think Stubbs will probably get a debut in the next game. I think Hamza is there, but I mean South Africa is looking pretty set. If these injuries weren't there, I think there would be no change. So I think Stubbs will probably get a debut, and Maharaj will come in as the spin option.
Okay. Dubai.
Is Zubair Hamza an opener? Is he an opener? I feel like
I'm not
he's an
sure. I
opener.
think he's a middle order batsman or something. But yeah, his average record is what I do know is, like I said, his average is 18 and 6 test matches. So
No, I think they'll go with Stubbs. He's their upcoming potential future star, really. And on the bowling front, I'd go with Maharaj. I don't know what South Africa's thinking. 4 pacers, or they play spinner. But last game they didn't play a spinner, right?
They didn't. Yeah.
They'll probably do the same. Go with a 4 pace attack.
I feel like if Stubbs comes in, given the kind of batsman he is, they may actually push Keegan Peterson and Bedingham slightly higher and get him to bat at 6 perhaps because he's more of an attacking batsman. And then, you're right. Like I think had Berger not had that great game, they could have brought Ngidi in for him as well. But I feel like he's going to play for sure. So Ngidi was kind of fit in the last game, but they said he's not match fit yet. So he's coming back from injury too. So let's see how this goes. But guys, I guess before we wrap up, prediction for this one, both of you go. Who do you think is going to take this?
India. So I think like the last few series, I think the last 2 or 3, India has gone on to win the second test and set up a decider. And I said this pre-series as well that I feel India's going to level 1-1 and then kick themselves for not having a third test schedule. So I think they will come out on top.
Okay. Karachi?
I mean, while the heart says India as well, but I just have the sneaky feeling that South Africa will probably have a whitewash. India would not have recovered from this last test loss that easily. It's an innings loss. 50-60 runs wala loss hota, though I would say.
Yeah.
But, given the conditions, the form that South Africa are running, India's under heavy criticism. So I mean, I hope they bounce back. I've been a fan of them since '97. I've played, through those. You guys would recall those, 3-nation tournaments with Zimbabwe and all would play. Zimbabwe would even beat India with Edo Brandes and all those great players in there. But, while the heart says India, I just feel that South Africa might get a whitewash.
I mean, I didn't even realize that it'll be a whitewash if South Africa wins because it's a 2-match series. But you're right, if South Africa wins, it's actually a whitewash technically. But you're right. I'm actually inclined to. I would pick South Africa. I feel like, given the manner of the win, I just feel like I think it'll be one great bowling spell, and that's probably will settle the game for me. But
opens up the points table for the championship now.
But if you have a view, those of you watching on what 11 India should go with, please leave a comment. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. And again, thank you both of you for being on the show.
Welcome.
Thank you, Faris. Happy New Year, everyone.
Yes, Happy New Year. And for those of you watching, we'll be back after the Cape Town test to see how India did. In the meantime, stay tuned to the shiny side.